Hello everyone, welcome into Fatty's Feast, where we make the best food you'll ever eat without leaving your backyard. My name is Josh, and today I am going to show you how to perfectly cook a top round steak. Let's get started. Now, I've received a few comments now asking me to cook a top round steak, and the reason for that is top round just kind of sucks. It's a very tough, lean, undesirable cut of meat. It doesn't have a lot of intermuscular fat like a ribeye, so searing it traditionally is kind of weird. And even though it's a tougher meat like a brisket, it's not like a brisket. So cooking it low and slow until 200 something degrees doesn't work either. But even still, if you're trying to save money, it's a cheap cut and there is a way to cook it perfectly, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. So in front of me, I have two top round steaks from Costco, USDA Choice. These bad boys came in at $5.99 a pound, so like I said, very cheap. And basically how we're gonna cook these is kind of similar to a reverse sear, but we're going to take it a step further. So I got my smoker fired up. That's gonna be our first phase of the cook. And then I have my Blackstone griddle behind me, and that's where we'll sear the steak. And then there's one little secret trick I'm gonna show you at the end, which is not really a huge secret, but it brings the steak up 69 times. So to season these guys, we're going to use my super secret brisket rub. This is great not only for briskets, but for just traditional steak seasoning as well. And I'd love to tell you what's in this rub, but I can't because it's a super secret. I'm just kidding, the measurements are in the description. It's Lawry's, pepper, garlic powder, and something else. I can't even remember. So just to reiterate what I just said before we season these, look at that. There's literally barely any fat. You can see it. I mean, there's a little fat there, but this is a tough cut of meat. I'm not gonna do any cutting of anything. It's not gonna be on the smoker that long, but we're gonna liberally season these guys. I'll just pat that stuff in. And we're not using any binder here because, like I said, it's not gonna be on the smoker that long, and I don't wanna taste yellow mustard or something along those lines. And because this is a steak, I'm trying to go a little liberal with this seasoning, as I said. There's not a lot of fat, so there's not really a lot of flavor, so we're gonna try to add flavor via seasoning and smoke. And there we go, ladies and gents, two perfectly seasoned top round steaks. Let's get them on the smoker. So we'll throw that guy there and this guy right here. Now I am gonna stick a probe in each one of these. We'll do one right in the center there and right about there. And we'll shut her down. Now, as I said, this is the first step of our steak cooking process. We're just trying to get some good old-fashioned smoke flavor on these guys. And to do that, we're going to cook these between 225 and 250, producing a little bit of intentional dirty smoke. This is not going to take long at all. This should take no more than an hour. I'm guessing about 45 minutes, so with my barbecue mouth, it's probably gonna take 3 hours. But honestly, it shouldn't take long. And because of that, I put those probes in because I don't wanna keep opening a lid and checking with an instant read thermometer. I'm going to do that at some point, but those just give me a good gauge of where we're at. The other thing to note is I did have these steaks sitting out here to try to get them up to, closer to room temperature for about 20 minutes or so. Now you might be asking, Josh, why can't I cook this steak to an internal temperature of 205 like a brisket? Because wouldn't that just make it magical? Don't we do that with chuck roasts or other steaks if we want them to be completely tender? Doesn't it break down like a brisket? Well, the answer is no, unfortunately, because there's no real intermuscular fat. So because it's so lean, if we bring it up to 205 or some asinine temperature, it's going to literally be sawdust. And I've seen many people attempt that, thinking they can use top round as a brisket alternative. It's not one of those meats. It's better cooked like a ribeye steak or something along those lines, even though it's not as good. So let's check our fire. So we got a small little fire going on here, not much of a coal bed. I'm doing that on purpose because I want to keep my temperatures low. I'll just break some of this down. And that's basically what I'm going to be running the whole time. I might add one, maybe two pieces of small wood. These 6-inch guys, the perfect size if you ask me. But even this is getting a little bit hotter than I want it to be, so I'll probably end up backing these dampers down a bit. And one trick we can do is just pull that fire closer to our door and we'll just let her go. So I should probably mention what temp we're cooking these to. On the smoker, we're gonna cook them to 110 to 115 max. So like I said, should take about 45 minutes. I'll see you in a bit. All right, ladies and gents, as you can see, not much of a bark or anything like that. That's not really what we're going for, but it's been about an hour, just over. Those are our internal temps from the probes. And weirdly enough, these actually cooked at pretty much the same temperature the whole time. So this one's at 113. I just want to take a measure here. A little hotter on the ends, as we can see, but that's exactly the temperature I'm going for. So pretty much between 112 and 118 all around the steak. Let's take these probes out. And this guy looking pretty hot. Look at those grill marks, kind of, not really. I'm just gonna take these off and put them on our cutting board to rest for a few minutes before we start the sear. Now, the reason we're letting them rest for a few minutes is because we want to actually slow down the cooking. Obviously, when you take steaks off a hot grill, or smoker in this case, they're going to continue cooking. We don't really want that. We want our steaks to be at the end 130 degrees. So since we're doing a reverse sear, that temperature will carry over, and I don't want it to, freaking bug, mosquito, gross. I don't want it to continue cooking out of control and then end up overcooking it because it's so hot and that momentum's still there. So we're gonna let those rest, but let's show you the secret ingredient. We're gonna get our griddle fired up nice and hot, and I'm gonna throw me a pan down, 1 stick of good old-fashioned butter into the pan, and now I'm just gonna mince me up some garlic. Now we're just gonna make a nice garlic butter rosemary buttery sauce thing here. So we're just gonna get this nice and minced down. I'm using 2 cloves for this. You can use more. I might need to make more. We're gonna see. And I have these burners on high right now, mostly to warm up for the sear. These things work absolutely amazing too for getting that garlic nice and minced. A lot easier than using a cheese grater or something. You just tap it down just like that. Beautiful. Oh God. And literally look at how finely done that garlic is. You can't beat it. So I'm just gonna give this a nice stir around. We're gonna let it melt. And I'm just gonna put this off to the side where I have a zone off. And to just turn it up a notch, I got 2 little things of rosemary here. We're just gonna mix that in. We don't wanna cook this, but I wanna have that kind of just mend into the butter. One last thing I'm gonna do with this is add a little bit of our brisket seasoning in there. Teaspoon, tablespoon, something like that. Just for some added flavor, that's all. Look at that. It doesn't get better than that, folks. Amazing. All right, you can see the smoke coming off our griddle. We know we are good to go. I'm gonna throw some oil down here. Just get this nice and evened out like so. And just like that. Can't forget about this guy. There we go. Perfect. That's what you're looking for, folks. That nice sizzle when you throw a steak on. We're gonna let these guys go about 2 to 3 minutes per side. And I'm not gonna touch them. We're just gonna let them go. Now, if you have a grill, like this one right here with my cornhole bags on it, you could use that too. If you have a sear zone, that works perfectly fine. I like my Blackstone for this. So we're gonna get a nice, even sear. It's gonna be amazing. All right, let's check these guys out. Bam, look at that, folks. Oh yeah, that is looking nice and hot. Check out that sear. God, that is some of the best searing I've ever done in my life. I'm gonna continuously check these as they're on here. I'm trying to get to an internal temp of about 125. That's a little hotter down here, unfortunately. That's okay. This one is about almost there. All right, it's been a few minutes. I just want to get the sides of these guys real quick. Have an amazing crust on there. Let's grab this guy too. Oh, you fell. Come on. Let's give this guy another try here. There we go. That's better. I'm just going to flip them one more time to finish off on that side. Check this again. Let's see where we're at. 125, 124. That's not bad. 130. Okay. So we're about there, guys. Look at that, 126. These are perfect. We're right where we need to be. So let's take these guys off and let me bring you in close. Looking pretty damn hot. And then this guy, can't get better than that unless you have like a ribeye or something. But that's a nice ass sear right there. Let's look at our butter. It's looking pretty damn good if I do say so myself. All right, and this is the secret step that's gonna take our steak to the next level. We got this guy right here, and then let's put this guy right here. Gonna pour some of these juices on the steak. And then, you know that butter we made? I'm gonna take the rosemary, throw it on this guy, and this guy, the smaller one. I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna pour it over the top, this garlic butter goodness. Gonna do a little more on the other steak. I wish you were here to smell what I'm smelling right now. This smells so freaking good. And then we're gonna take these guys, just like we would a brisket, and we're going to wrap them up very carefully. Nice and firm, just like so. And then I'm gonna take them and throw them back over here. Right back on to the trusty old smoker, and we'll shut them down again. Now, if I open my firebox door, you notice we're down to coals, so there's not much going on there. Basically, I just wanna let these rest for probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Obviously, I added that fat, that butter. That's why we added the butter, because these are so lacking in fat that you want a little bit of that tenderness, that added fat. Is butter going to make up for the lack of fat? No. But it's going to make a difference in the long run. And I want these steaks cooked to about 130. That's why I took them off at 125. They're going to continue cooking. That carryover from reverse searing them will get them to that perfect temperature, especially when I have them on this smoker that right now is running at about 120 degrees, maybe a little bit more. So by the time this fire is completely burned out, we'll have some quality steaks, and they're gonna be delicious. So I'll see you guys back in about 30 minutes. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen, pure perfection. So let's cut one of these guys up into about 1/4 inch strips, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. And just out of curiosity, let's cut into this one, because I think this one's gonna be, oh yeah, just as freaking good. And then let's do the magic touch. Let's pour a little bit of this juice on top of these guys. Okay, I'm super excited with how these turned out, and I think we're about to get a tornado or some shit, so I gotta hurry up here. So let's get some of this juice in there. Oh my God. You wanna talk about a steak that's not tender being freaking, look at that. It pulls right apart. This, holy shit. Everything works so freaking well. This actually probably maybe just as good as a ribeye. That's kind of a lie. It's definitely not. But like, if I just pull this apart, look at that. Like a little more work than a ribeye or something along those lines. But like, it's not sandpapery. It just like, oh my God, it just falls apart. I love it. Like you taste the smoke. It's not overpowering smoke. I mean, obviously we only did that till 115. So we didn't get the maximum amount of smoke flavor. If we wanted to, we could have left it on for a little while longer. But guys, this is like so good. And that sear, sealed in all the flavors and all the juices, absolutely phenomenal. That garlic rosemary butter, absolutely amazing. Love it. I could eat both these steaks right now. So freaking good. Now, typically I found the best way to smoke a steak is just leave it on the smoker the whole time. I wanted to get a sear on these because I just think it'd be better with a sear in this particular case. If you're doing a ribeye, just leave it on the smoker. It's completely fine. But this is really freaking good. If you don't want your top round to come out like absolute shit, this is the way to do it. It's tender. It tastes just like if you'd say like a sirloin maybe. It's really amazing. Like I'm so happy with the way this came out. But that's going to do it for this episode of Fatty's Feast. If you liked what you saw, please smash that like button. Leave a comment down in the comment section about things you want to see me make on the smoker, on the griddle, on the grill. Doesn't really matter. I'll do it all. Check out these videos over here if you want to see more of me. And if you want to see even more of me, in addition to that, you can subscribe right down there. Until next time, everyone, stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay hungry.